All right, let's talk about something real. Truth is the most powerful thing in this world, but also the most dangerous. See, people think truth heals, and yeah, it does. But before it ever heals, it hurts. It cuts deep, especially when that truth don't line up with the story you've been telling yourself. That's why truth don't go straight to the heart. Nah, it gotta hit the ego first, and that's where the war begins. The ego, that's your armor. That's the thing you build up to protect your pride, your image, your feelings. It's the story you create about who you think you are. And when somebody comes along and speaks truth that don't match that story, the ego feel attacked. It don't see it as love, it sees it as disrespect. That's why you'll see people react with anger, tears, denial, anything but peace. They're not mad at you for saying it. They mad that you exposed what they were trying to hide from themselves. See, truth got a vibration to it. When you hear something that's real, your soul knows. You feel it instantly, but your mind, your ego, it tries to fight it off. It tries to defend the comfort. Because if you accept that truth, that means change is coming. That means accountability is required. And most people ain't ready for that. They want to feel good, not grow. So when you tell somebody the truth and they start snapping, yelling, or shutting down, understand that's the ego doing its job. The ego is built to protect identity. It's scared that truth will destroy it. But the crazy part is the truth don't destroy you, it refines you. It burns off the fake parts so the real can shine. That's why you can't take it personal when somebody can't handle your honesty. It's not about you, it's about them versus their own reflection. They hearing your words, but they fighting their own reality. The truth hits the ego first, and that hit feels like pain, rejection, or betrayal. Only after it breaks through that wall can it reach the heart. And once it hits the heart, that's when the healing starts. The heart don't resist truth. It understands it, but the heart don't get the first say the ego does. The ego's loud. It wants to win, not learn. It wants to defend, not reflect. That's why you'll hear somebody say, "You don't know me," when you just spoke something that describes them perfectly. That's the ego screaming, trying to stay alive. And that's why realness is rare. Most people talk fake peace because real truth disrupts comfort. We live in a world where lies are dressed up as kindness and truth is labeled rude. But if you really love somebody, you don't feed their illusion. You tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, because that's real love. Truth exposes weakness. It reveals insecurity. It brings light to what's been hidden in the dark. That's why people who can't face themselves will always run from truth tellers. They'll call you arrogant, insensitive, or cold. But really, you're just free from pretending. You're not trying to hurt them, you're trying to wake them up. But you gotta understand timing too. Every truth ain't ready to be received at every moment. Some people need to break a little more before they can listen. So don't force it, just speak it with calm and walk in it yourself. The truth always finds its way home. And when it finally reaches the heart, that's when transformation begins. The same words that once made somebody angry now make them grateful. The same truth they rejected becomes a lesson that saves them. That's the beauty of it. Truth don't change. People do. So yeah, truth hits ego before it reaches the heart. That's the journey it takes. First, it shakes your pride. Then it touches your soul. It humbles you before it heals you. And that's the real process of growth, the breakdown before the breakthrough. You gotta let truth do what it's meant to do. Don't run from it. Don't fight it. Let it hit. Let it sting. Because that sting, that's how you know it's real. That's how you know something inside you's about to evolve. Truth ain't supposed to make you comfortable. It's supposed to make you conscious. So next time somebody hits you with something that hurts your ego, don't react. Reflect. Ask yourself why it hurt. Most times it's not the words, it's the mirror they held up. The truth ain't your enemy. It's your invitation to grow. And once you start embracing that, no lie can control you, no illusion can blind you, and no fear can silence you. That's when you step into power. That's when you stop needing validation. Because once truth hits your heart, you're finally free. You ever notice how people say they want honesty, but when you finally give it to them, they start pulling back? That's because honesty sounds beautiful until it starts undressing what's been hiding underneath. See, women, they crave honesty. They talk about it. They demand it. They pray for a man who's real. But what they don't always realize is realness comes with exposure. And exposure don't feel good when you've been protecting an image more than your truth. When a man speaks from a real place, when he puts truth on the table, it don't just sit there quietly, it shines a light. It shows what's been avoided, the insecurities, the contradictions, the patterns that been running the show. And that's the part that stings, because deep down she knows you ain't lying. She just wasn't ready to face it. See, most women grew up in a world that told them to look perfect, act perfect, feel perfect. Everything around them, social media, validation, attention, it builds this illusion that as long as they look good, everything is good. So when honesty comes in, it's like cracking a mirror. The reflection don't look the same anymore. That's why they react. That's why emotions come first. Because honesty don't just speak to the mind, it exposes the mask. They crave the type of man who don't lie, who don't sugarcoat. But when that man shows up, he makes them uncomfortable. Not because he's wrong, but because he's different. He don't feed the ego, he feeds the truth. He's not trying to impress, he's trying to align. And alignment requires vulnerability. It requires facing the parts you've been hiding behind pride, pain, or pressure. That's what most people fear, exposure. The fear that somebody might see the parts of you that ain't polished. The fear that love might shift when the truth comes out. But the irony is, the truth don't kill love, the lies do. Exposure is the only way love can breathe. If you gotta hide to be loved, you never really felt love. You just felt accepted for your disguise. When a man speaks honesty, a woman's first reaction might be to defend herself. That's the ego talking. You don't understand me, you judging me, you trying to control me. Nah, he just ain't afraid to say what's real. And realness feels like confrontation when you ain't used to accountability. But behind that emotion, there's respect, because deep down, a woman knows a man who tells her the truth is the one who actually cares. See, lying is easy. Anybody can say what makes you smile. But truth, that's rare. Truth builds foundation. You can't build a real connection on half-truths and sweet lies. Eventually, the mask slips. And when it does, it hurts way more than it would have if honesty came first. But here's the twist. The same honesty that scares her is the same honesty that makes her trust you. It might take time. It might take a few arguments, a few nights of silence, but eventually she feels it. Because deep down, a woman wants safety more than she wants sweetness. And safety don't come from pretending. It comes from knowing you solid, knowing your words got weight, knowing you're not afraid to speak truth, even if it costs you comfort. That's the kind of energy that changes how people love. It's not about being harsh, it's about being real with intention. Because truth without compassion can cut too deep. But truth without courage don't exist at all. You gotta know how to deliver it. Say it from a place of calm, not control. From love, not ego. That's when she starts to listen. Not just hear, but listen. And once that happens, something shifts. She might still get emotional. She might still fight it. That's natural. But over time, the honesty you gave her becomes the mirror she needed. She starts seeing herself clearly, not through filters, not through fantasy. That's when growth begins. That's when she realizes exposure wasn't her enemy. It was her liberation. Because what women fear most, being seen, is exactly what they need most to evolve, to be seen not for their looks, not for their image, but for their truth, for who they are when the makeup fades, when the titles drop, when the emotions settle. That's where real love lives, in the exposed, imperfect, authentic space. So yeah, women crave honesty. But honesty ain't just words, it's light. And light don't always feel gentle when you've been living in shadows. But it's necessary, because you can't heal what you hide, and you can't build anything real on what ain't true. At the end of the day, that's the test. Can you love someone enough to tell them the truth, even if it shakes them? Can you be honest enough to expose the illusion, knowing it might make them walk away? That's real strength. Because truth might cost you people, but it'll never cost you peace. And the ones who stay after the exposure, those are the ones who really see you. The truth don't hurt, man. It never did. What really hurts is when the illusion breaks. When that picture you painted in your mind starts cracking and the reality you've been avoiding starts showing through. That's what stings. The truth itself is neutral. It's solid, unshaken. It just is. But when it collides with the fantasy you've been holding on to, that's when pain shows up. See, we don't suffer because of what's real. We suffer because of what we thought was real. The story we built, the expectations we created, the version of someone we wanted them to be. We don't cry because the truth showed up. We cry because the lie couldn't keep up anymore. Everybody says they want the truth. But let's be real. Most people want their version of it, the version that don't disturb, that comfort, that don't question their choices, that don't challenge the dream they're addicted to, when the truth shows up raw and unfiltered, it don't match the fantasy. It don't look how you imagine. That's when reality hits, not the truth, but the loss of the illusion. When you fall in love with potential instead of the person, it's not the truth that hurts. When they show you who they really are, it's that your illusion just got shattered. You built a castle on a cloud, now the fog's clearing. The foundation never existed. That's the kind of pain people confuse with truth. But truth ain't cruel, it's clarity. It's the light after the storm. The storm is what your mind creates trying to hold on to what's already gone. See, illusions feel good. They're comforting. They let you believe everything's fine, even when your gut telling you it's not. You convince yourself you're happy. You convince yourself they love you. You convince yourself this job, this life, this relationship means something more than it does. But deep down, that whisper, that quiet little voice, it knows. It always knows. It's just waiting for you to stop lying to yourself long enough to listen. And when the truth finally shows up, it don't knock, it kicks the door open. It don't ask for permission. It demands recognition. That's when the illusion collapses. And that collapse, that's where the pain lives. That's the heartbreak, the confusion, the sleepless nights. It's the feeling of realizing the thing you were holding on to was never real. But here's the twist, that pain is purification. That's the ego detoxing. That's the moment your mind finally lets go of something that should have released a long time ago. Because the truth ain't coming to destroy you. It's coming to free you. The illusion was the cage. The truth was the key. But keys don't feel good when they break chains you've grown comfortable in. It's crazy we call people cold or heartless when they speak truth that we ain't ready for. But maybe they just see what we can't admit yet. Maybe they already made peace with the reality we still running from. Because once you've lived through enough illusions breaking, you stop fearing the truth. You start craving it. You rather face the cut of clarity than live numb in a lie. Pain only lasts as long as you keep chasing the illusion. The moment you surrender, the moment you stop trying to fix what's not yours to fix, that's when peace slides in. That's when acceptance feels lighter than denial ever did. Because truth don't weigh you down, pretending does. It's like waking up from a dream. At first, you don't want to open your eyes because the dream felt beautiful, but eventually you realize the dream wasn't real. And as much as it hurts to wake up, you can finally see where you are. You can finally start again, this time with vision, not fantasy. That's what growth looks like. You stop blaming the truth for hurting you. You start thanking it for saving you. Every illusion that breaks, every false story that collapses, that's life pulling you closer to authenticity. It's stripping away everything fake, so only the real remains. So yeah, the truth don't hurt. It's the illusion breaking that does. The truth is steady, it's peace, it's solid ground. It's the lie that keeps shaking. It's the illusion that keeps bleeding when reality shows up. But once you make peace with what's real, nothing can shake you anymore. Because you've already been through the hardest part, watching what's fake fall apart. And that's the beauty in it. You don't lose when the illusion breaks. You gain. You gain clarity, strength, wisdom, freedom. You start seeing people in life exactly how they are, not how you wish they were. That's when you stop chasing validation. Stop begging for understanding. Stop needing control, because now you're grounded in what's real. And what's real, it can't be broken. It can only be revealed. It's wild how the same words can sound different depending on who's listening. A man can speak truth with a calm tone, no anger, no hate, just solid presence, and somehow it still gets taken like disrespect. That's because when emotions lead, logic gets lost. When somebody's feelings in control, they don't hear what you're saying. They hear how it makes them feel. And sometimes the truth hits emotions like fire to gasoline. See, a calm man is dangerous in a world addicted to reaction. His peace feels like power. His silence feels like judgment. When he speaks with certainty, people mistake it for arrogance. But what he's really doing is controlling the storm instead of becoming it. That's rare energy, especially in a time where everybody want to prove something. When a man speaks calmly, it means he already thought about it. Yeah, he's not trying to win the argument, he's trying to stay in alignment. But when emotions lead the room, that calmness gets twisted. It feels cold, detached, like he don't care. But he does. He just refuses to let emotions steer truth off course. That's the difference between emotional truth and grounded truth. Emotional truth is temporary. It changes with moods. Grounded truth stands whether you happy, mad, or hurt. When a man stands in that space, his energy carries weight, and that weight scares people who ain't balanced inside. It exposes how much they rely on reaction to feel heard. You can tell a woman the truth in the softest tone possible, and if her emotions are running the show, she'll still take offense. Not because of your words, but because those words challenge how she feels. And people protect feelings more than facts. When you're calm, it makes them feel like you think you're above them. But you're not above, you just over the noise. You don't match energy, you manage it. That's the hardest thing for emotional people to understand. Calm don't mean careless, it means discipline. It means you mastered the part of yourself that used to explode just to prove a point. That's growth. That's maturity. But when you grow like that, you outpace most people's emotional intelligence. They start mistaking your peace for pride. It's the same reason people get defensive when you hold a mirror up to them. They can't separate correction from criticism. They hear your words through the filter of their emotions. So when a man says something simple like, "That's not how it went," they feel attacked. Not because he raised his voice, but because his truth threatens their version of the story. Calm truth has power. It don't chase validation. It don't need noise. It just is. But emotional minds need motion. They need drama, tone, fire. So when you take that away, when you stay steady, it leaves them with themselves. And that silence makes people uncomfortable. They start trying to pull you into their storm just so they can feel right. But you can't let that shake you. If your truth comes from clarity, not ego, you ain't got nothing to prove. You ain't got to match anyone's energy to make your words valid. The real ones will hear you. The rest will feel you, even if they don't understand yet. Because truth don't need to shout. It settles, it lingers, it grows roots. And one day, when emotions calm down, that same truth that sounded like disrespect will sound like wisdom. That's how it always goes. People reject truth when they emotional, then quote it later when they heal. So you can't take it personal. You gotta stay solid even when misunderstood. That's what separates strength from sensitivity. The world's full of noise right now. Everybody emotional, everybody reacting. But the real power is in stillness, in not letting somebody else's chaos rewrite your character, in staying calm enough to let truth speak through you, not ego. That's when you start living different. You stop trying to be right in the moment and you start being real for life. So yeah, a man's calm truth might feel like disrespect when emotion leads. And that's just emotion's pride talking. That's the ego defending its comfort. The same people who get offended today will thank you later for not matching their madness, because when the smoke clears, what last ain't who shouted the loudest, it's who stood the truest. Stay calm when they loud, stay firm when they shake. You ain't gotta prove your tone when your truth pure. Sometimes your peace is the loudest statement you can make. Because calm don't mean weak. Calm means you mastered the fire inside you that everyone else keeps burning bridges with. Truth got power, but not the kind most people think. It ain't about control. It ain't about proving somebody wrong. And it damn sure ain't about making people bow down to what you say. The power of truth is discipline, not dominance. Real truth don't flex. It stands. It don't demand respect. It earns it. Truth don't need to control nobody. It just requires that you stay consistent with it, even when it costs you. See, discipline is staying true when it's inconvenient. When lying can make life easier, when silence could keep the peace. Discipline is that moment when your pride want to speak louder than your purpose, and you choose to stay grounded instead. That's the real power behind truth. Not using it as a weapon, but using it as a way of life. Dominance is about ego. It's about trying to force somebody to see things your way. But truth don't force. It reveals. Truth don't argue. It exposes. The only people who try to dominate with truth are the ones who still insecure about it. Because when you know something's real, you don't need to prove it. You just walk in it. That calm certainty hits harder than any loud claim ever could. Discipline keeps truth pure. It keeps it from becoming manipulation. You ever notice how some people use truth as an excuse to disrespect others? They say, "I'm just being real," but really, they're just trying to release their frustration. That ain't truth. That's ego with a mask on. Truth spoken without discipline becomes arrogance. It becomes about winning instead of awakening. The hardest part about walking in truth is restraint, knowing when to speak, when to stay silent, and when to let time do the talking. Because truth don't need to be rushed. You can't convince somebody ready to believe a lie. You gotta let life show them. That's discipline. trusting that truth always reveals itself, even when you keep quiet. There's strength in stillness and not reacting every time somebody tests you, and knowing that your character gonna prove your words long after the argument's over. That's where truth lives, in consistency. Anybody can talk real for a day, but can you live it every day? Can you stay the same when nobody watching? That's the difference between dominance and discipline. Dominance wants to be seen. Discipline don't care who looking. A lot of people confuse honesty with power. They think telling someone off or speaking facts makes them strong, but that's surface level energy. Real strength ain't in what you say, it's in what you control. It's in keeping your peace when you could destroy somebody with your words, but choose not to. That's truth with integrity. That's power that builds instead of breaks. Truth demands growth, not submission. It challenges you first. It checks your intentions before it checks anyone else's. If you can't handle your own truth, you got no business trying to hand it out. That's where most people go wrong. They want to speak truth outward before living it inward, but the truth starts inside. It starts with discipline over your own mind, your own habits, your own emotions. When you carry truth with discipline, people feel it. You don't gotta talk loud, you don't gotta debate. Your actions align, your energy steady. And that energy speaks louder than words ever could. It inspires without preaching. It leads without forcing. That's how real leaders move, through example, not dominance. See, truth is sacred. It's not meant to be thrown around just to win a conversation. Every time you speak it, it should come from intention, because truth carries weight, and if you use it recklessly, it hurts people more than it helps them. But when you use it with discipline, it heals. It creates space for growth, understanding, and respect. The real power of truth shows up when you ain't even talking, when you walking through your life in alignment with what you say you believe. When people see you doing right, even when nobody's rewarding you for it, that's discipline. That's strength. That's truth. Embody a dominance phase. Discipline lasts. Control can make people follow you for a minute, but consistency makes them respect you forever. Truth ain't about being right. It's about being real. Every single day. And that takes patience, humility, and emotional balance. So yeah, the power of truth is discipline. It's in the quiet confidence of a person who don't need to shout. It's in the choices you make when nobody's watching. It's in the peace that comes from knowing you never compromise your integrity for comfort. That's what makes truth powerful. Not how loud you speak it, but how faithfully you live it.